Hi, I am Lauren. I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner, and I want to talk to you guys about how in Chinese medicine we view the whole phase of menopause. So, the Chinese medicine perspective of women's menstrual cycles and a whole woman's menstrual life and reproductive life is really, really beautiful and really poetic. So, it's not really seen as something to be feared or to treat or that needs to be diagnosed. It's something that's much more respected, revered, and valued. When a woman enters menopause, or she's making that transition from perimenopause into menopause, when her menstrual cycles stop, it's seen as the second spring in a woman's life. So it's this chance and this time for all of that energy that was going to sustaining and maintaining a menstrual cycle for 30 odd years previously can now go elsewhere in her body. So all of that energy and all that qi in the blood that goes to our ovaries and our reproductive system to ovulate and create all those hormones and then shed the lining of the uterus, which isn't any small task, all of that energy can now go elsewhere in that woman's body. So it's this time that is seen in Eastern traditions and in Chinese medicine traditions, that it's like this time of vitality for women going through this time, and not something to be afraid of or to be scared of. And if there are symptoms that come up during this transition, then it is a time to say, okay, what can we do to rebalance the system? So from a Chinese medicine perspective, we have our yin and our yang. So we're always trying to strive and find balance between our yin and our yang energies. Yin is very cooling, it's very moistening, it's kind of cold, dark, and it's seen as more the feminine energy. Whereas yang is very hot and very heating, and it's like fast and dynamic and more of the masculine energy. So our yin energy is very linked up with our blood and our menstrual cycles. So as we approach menopause, our yin is slowly decreasing. And this happens with age, regardless of menopause. So as we grow, age, and mature, our yin slowly declines. And because this cooling energy is declining, it's like we've got this apparent excess of yang energy, which is really hot and stimulating. And because the yin is decreasing, this is why women can feel these overwhelming surges of heat, and they may get sweating, or they may get irritated or mood changes, because there is this unrestricted yang blazing and kind of firing. So when we see these patterns reoccurring time and time again in Chinese medicine, we can take the steps to be like, okay, how can we cool down the yang? How can we boost up the yin so that the typical signs of entering the menopausal transition or perimenopause is with the hot flashes? What can we do to help support that whole transition? But from a Chinese medicine perspective, it's not something to be afraid of. It's not something that always needs treatment. It's purely a transition time, and it's almost seen as like a second puberty, because our first puberty is the reproductive system maturing and developing and starting to ovulate. And the other end of it with this second puberty is the reproductive system slowly stopping and stopping ovulation again. So I hope that makes sense in terms of how we view menopause in Chinese medicine. And if you have any questions about menopause, please leave them below and let us know.